Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's XR augmented and virtual reality development and design information session. I'm going to start off just quickly apologizing if I have any issues with my sound. My microphone was a little crackly just a minute ago here, so I'm hoping that I don't run into any issues during the presentation. But at any point, if anybody can't hear me okay, just do me a favor and let me know in the chat so I stop talking and come back to the point where I was when you couldn't hear me anymore. So all that aside, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Christopher, thank you. Thank you. And on that note, feel free to share in the chat where everyone is joining us from today. I am personally from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Previously, I actually grew up in Ontario. I'm from Niagara Falls. I was just there a couple weeks ago visiting, but I've lived in the Rockies and now I'm out in Calgary. I've been here for almost 10 years. So yeah, feel free to share where you guys are joining us from in the chat. Also in the bottom right corner there, beside the chat, you guys can see there is a questions tab. There's a polls tab. And then of course, there's the people there. The people is just showing all of the lovely folks in here for the session today. The polls, I did drop a couple polls in there in advance, so feel free to interact with those while I'm presenting here today. A couple questions there, I think just asking like kind of what industry you're currently working in, and so feel free to do those. Now the questions tab, guys, we are going to do some live Q&A at the end with the course instructor and myself. So if anybody has any questions for either of us about the industry or about the courses that we have for augmented and virtual reality development and design, we will do our best to go through all of those together at the end. So if you put any questions into the questions tab and we ignore it during the presentation, I promise the goal is to go back and do it at the end. So awesome. So I can see all the locations here: Toronto, California, LA, Poland, amazing, Vancouver, Mexico, Montreal, Ecuadorian, but living in Montreal, amazing. Well, awesome. Well, welcome everybody. I will probably say this a few times throughout the session today, just in case people kind of come and go. Montreal, Kitchener, nice. So the full session today is going to be recorded. So you guys can sit back and relax. You don't have to write down any information or take any screenshots or do anything. But you are certainly welcome to. But once the presentation has concluded, a full recording of the event will be sent out to your email. So you don't have to worry about taking notes if you don't want to here today. So LA, London, Toronto, nice. Yeah, I was just in Toronto last week too, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, but love that city as well. Haven't been to LA yet, got to get there. And I've definitely been to Ottawa and Kitchener, Montreal. So cool. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get the presentation started. I'm going to make this screen bigger because this is the presentation. This is more important than my face here. And I will go ahead and kick it off. So I'll start off by introducing myself. So my name is Tyler. I'm the marketing events manager at CircuitStream. I've been with the company for just about 3 years. I'm coming close to my anniversary here soon. I think it's in June or July, so it's got to be coming up here pretty quick. But yeah, before that, I worked in travel and tourism, probably about 10 or plus years or so before COVID hit, and then kind of changed the trajectory. I can't talk today, of a lot of people's careers. So that's me. That's a little bit. We are going to have a cool guest speaker joining us today. Robert Wong is one of our XR Development with Unity course instructors. So the focus of today's presentation is going to be on XR, on augmented and virtual reality, on development and design. I'm going to talk a little bit about the industry, some opportunities that exist in that space, the differences between the two courses and between the two professions, I should say, between XR development and XR design. And then I'm going to invite Robert up on stage and I'm going to ask him some questions more specific to the bootcamp that we offer, and see if he can shed a little bit of light on the student experience and kind of some of the outcomes and what that would look like for students taking the courses there. So before I get into that, I will talk a little bit about CircuitStream. So we began in 2015 through a network of developers, designers, and creators, and we are now a leading provider of technology learning in game development and design, augmented and virtual reality, development and design, UX design, product management, and software development. We also partner with industry-leading companies and leading educational institutions to offer courses and training to those looking to learn more about emerging technologies. So on the screen there, you can see a handful of our corporate partners. And then on the right side, you can see the listing of our university partners there as well. So I'll just start off here with XR. Some people might be curious, what is XR? I'm sure a lot of you know, but I'll just kind of break it down here just in case. So XR stands for extended reality, which encompasses virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. Augmented reality is where virtual information and objects are overlaid on the real world. This experiences enhances real life with digital details such as images, text, and animation. In a virtual reality experience, users are fully immersed into a simulated digital environment using like a VR headset. And then in mixed reality, digital and real worlds coexist and can interact with one another in real time. This is the latest immersive technology and sometimes referred to as hybrid reality as well. The XR industry has grown immensely in the last few years, with 23 million jobs projected to be enhanced by AR and VR in 2030, I should say. These jobs are not just around gaming, but they span around many other industries like healthcare, retail, education, construction, and more. Anywhere where there's training, really, or opportunity for augmented and virtual reality to make learning a little bit safer. It exists in a lot of those spaces too. Many well known companies have incorporated XR into their businesses. And you can see just a few examples on the bottom of this slide of some of the companies that are using XR technology in their day to day use. Now, the primary roles in XR are usually grouped into either design or development. And I'm going to take a look at both of those in the presentation here today. So XR designers are primarily responsible for conceptualizing ideas and experiences, planning visuals through storyboarding, and prototyping to ensure optimal user experience. On the other hand, XR developers take the blueprints, the design blueprints, and implement them to build an XR app or experience. And then they utilize coding to bring it to life for the end users. So they're a little bit different between the two. These people usually work pretty closely together, however, or many of our students have ended up over time taking both of these courses so that they develop both skill sets. They can do both XR development and design. My only advice with that is if anybody was looking at doing both, just try and pace yourself, maybe do one at a time versus doing both or trying to do both at the same time, because it can be a lot of work if you do that. But we do offer both courses in both of these areas, and I'm going to share some details on these specific courses in just a minute here too. First, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Vision Pro. So Apple announced the release of its Vision Pro back in June of last year, and then it officially became available for purchase earlier this year. The release has catapulted extended reality technology even further into the spotlight. According to a July 2023 global data report, XR is poised to revolutionize training, design, engagement, collaboration, and entertainment, ushering in transformative changes across industries and refining the overall quality of human interactions. The Apple Vision Pro is a spatial computer that blends digital content apps into your physical space and lets you navigate using your eyes, hands, and your voice. Just a little bit about the Apple Vision Pro there. So in order to create XR experiences, you need to use some sort of development software. And the one that we teach predominantly in our XR development course is Unity. So if you are not familiar with Unity, Unity is the world's leading platform for creating and operating interactive real-time 3D content. You can use it to make games, visualizations, immersive experiences, and much, much more. As you can see on the screen here, 70% of the top 1,000 mobile games were made using Unity, and Unity creators are located everywhere around the world. Now, in terms of some career opportunities, I mentioned there many jobs expecting to be enhanced by XR technology in coming years, so we can dive into some of these opportunities here. The demand for developers and designers in the XR space has grown dramatically and continues to grow as these technologies become more and more common. We've broken down the average salaries for design and development roles here for both the US and Canada. And as you can see, both countries offer highly competitive compensation in both sides. So just some, and again, just in case anybody came in afterwards here, all the stats, all the details, all the information in this presentation will be recorded and sent to everybody afterwards. So just in case anybody's running in and writing down salary numbers or anything, any stats on the screen, you're welcome to, but you certainly don't have to. So. Now that you know a little bit more about Circuit Stream and the XR industry, I'm going to jump into some details a little bit more specific to the courses themselves. So I'll start off with the XR development with Unity course. This course is designed for individuals interested in understanding how to use Unity and C# coding to develop XR experiences. The great thing about this course is that it is all project based. So you learn the concepts in class and get to apply them to real life projects. Our students really enjoy this aspect of the course because it allows them to build up a portfolio of projects to demonstrate the skills that they have learned. So by the end of the 10 weeks, you'll have learned foundational Unity skills, how to code in C Sharp, and how to develop AR and VR applications. And then, like I mentioned, you'll have a portfolio of projects that you can present and show to people if you're looking for opportunities or if you're looking to collaborate with other developers or designers. The portfolio is a great way to kind of demonstrate the skills that you know. So in a nutshell, if you want to learn programming and development concepts, and you're kind of weighing the two different courses against each other, the XR development course is probably a little bit more for you. I did mention Unity, but there are a few other tools listed here that you'll see in the course as well, such as C Sharp, AR Core, and AR Kit. We're basically always reviewing the materials and iterating on them to make sure that they are the most up to date. So if anybody in the audience has taken a course with us previously and they are now in the crowd looking, you may see some of the same tools. You may see some more updated ones there. Very, very common. We're basically always trying to stay as up to date as we can with the tools that we're using in the courses there. So that's just some of the courses in the the tools rather in the development course. Now for the interaction design and prototyping for XR course, this one is designed for those interested in wanting to understand how to design XR experiences and interactions. This course is also project-based, so you have the chance to take on concepts that you've learned in class and apply them to real-life projects. And by the end of this 10 weeks, you'll have learned how to apply the best UX practices to XR experiences. You'll know how to prototype AR, VR experiences using industry recognized tools. And you'll have a portfolio the same way that you would in the other one of projects that you can show off at the end here. So that's a little bit about the design. One thing here for this course to note is that there is no coding. So if you are looking at both of these courses as options for yourself, and you're kind of, again, you're not really sure which way to go, like, should I do development? Should I do design? We get asked that question. It's probably one of the most, if not the most common question that we get about these courses when people are interested in getting involved. They just don't know where to go. And a really easy decision factor that I found is if you're interested in coding at all, then the development side is probably a really easy jump for you. If you have no interest in coding at all, and you want to get involved a little bit more on the look and how things run and the design side, then the interaction course is definitely more for you. So that's just to kind of differentiate between the two. And again, in a few minutes, I'll have Robert up here, and we'll be able to go into that a little bit more. So in this course, for the design course, besides Unity, you'll also be using Shapes XR, Figma, Spark AR, Adobe Aero, and more. But again, these are always updating and flipping. So if anybody did register for a course or does register for a course after today's session and they get in and there's another tool in the course or one of these has been swapped out, then I do apologize. I do my best to kind of showcase the up-to-date tools that we're using in the courses, knowing that we change them quite often to stay up to date. So now I mentioned before, you'll finish the course with a portfolio of projects, but you also receive digital badges at the end of both of these courses that you can add to your LinkedIn or your resume and show your completion of the course. And then one of the greatest things that we hear from most of our students is the access to the community that we have. So we have a private Discord community. I think we've got somewhere around 1,200 or 1,500 active members right now. And it's an amazing place for you to ask questions, to connect with instructors, but connect with other students. And, so many of our students take courses with us. Like development students will take the course, for example, and then they'll meet design students through our network. And then they'll end up working together on projects after they complete the course, game projects, applications, whatever the case may be. So it's an amazing place to kind of get some answers to some questions that you might have afterwards, or to find some like-minded individuals to connect and kind of work on group projects together, even outside the course once it's completed. And the best part is, I guess it's kind of alluded here based on what I was saying, but we don't kick you out of the community once you've completed the course. So we encourage all of our graduates to stay in that community and support and help each other as they kind of learn. So that's definitely one of the biggest perks as the network that you get here. And then both of our XR courses have been created to teach you foundational skills, meaning that you'll gain the essential skills either developing or designing and be able to use these to create XR experiences for a wide range of devices. meaning that you're going to learn foundational skills. So there's no prior experience required for either of these courses. They are completely beginner friendly. Probably going to state that in a moment on a couple slides that I have coming up, but just in case, these courses are completely beginner friendly. If you have a little bit of coding knowledge and you're coming into any of our coding courses, XR gaming, whatever it may be through our company here, the first couple weeks might be a little bit of a refresher for you, because it is set up to be completely beginner friendly for people who have no coding knowledge. We do have additional C# coding that can be tagged on to the XR development course as well. So yeah, this on screen here, these are just some examples of some of our student projects, and I love them all. But personally, I always shout out Dumbledore's Castle in the bottom left corner there. I just think it's a really cool app, and one of our students created it so you could go into his room in the castle and walk around in his space, which was really cool if you're a Harry Potter fan. So, all right, so now I'm going to stop rambling about the courses and about the difference between XR development and design, and I'm going to officially invite our guest speaker on stage for today. Robert is one of our XR Development with Unity course instructors, and I'm going to ask him some questions about the course curriculums and the student experiences, and we can just shed a little bit more light on that. So welcome to the stage, Robert.
Hey, Tyler, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me over.
Of course. And I always give everybody a warning for this, Robert. I'm going to make your screen bigger here while we're talking. So just so it doesn't shock you when your screen pops up big there when I do it.
You can now see my shiny forehead. Oh, geez. HD.
Every time, well, don't worry, me too. But every time I do this and I don't warn somebody, they're always like, whoa, when they see themselves go big. So, well, cool. Well, yeah. So thanks again, Robert, for being here. I'll dive right into the questions here that we have. So, the first one I have is, what are some of the key skills? And again, just for everyone in the audience, Robert teaches the XR development course. So most of his responses today are going to be related to that. However, he's got a little bit of insight into our design course. I have some insight into the design course. But if there's any questions that we can't answer about that one specifically today, we will collect your information and we'll make sure that we reach back out to you and get answers to you right away. So just in case, but the first one here for you, Robert, is what are some of the key skills that students would learn in the XR development and design courses?
Yeah, for sure, Tyler. Thanks so much, and good to see so many people in this group chat. It's something that you've kind of alluded to in the previous slides, but really what you learn in this course is a base set of tools. So you're really just getting this basic toolkit that has all the foundational stuff you need. So in the developer side of things, really, it's how to navigate Unity's engine. So how do you move around? How do you exactly use everything? And what are the key sort of things that you can use to develop? It's really a nice exploration of an introduction to using Unity. After that, there's really things like learning the basics of C# and how to use Unity and C# to create AR and VR applications. So it's really just the base that you would start off to start building other things and things that are more custom to you. But those are the main key skills you'll learn.
Amazing. And for those not familiar with Unity, I didn't prepare you for this question too, but is there, I know the answer to this, but just to share with the audience, is there any cost to Unity? Is there any specific sort of device that you need to kind of run Unity? Could you share anything on that?
Yeah, for sure. In terms of cost, it really depends on what tier you want to be. My answer to that to most people is it's free. So it's free for anyone to start. But if you want to get rid of the splash screen that says made by Unity, you just got to pay a bit more. It also has a couple more features if you pay for a higher tier. But I know for a fact that most people can get along and make amazing stuff with the free version, which is what I highly recommend. In terms of hardware, if you have a computer, then you can use Unity, I would say.
Perfect. That was the answer I had in my head too. So I was hoping what you said was the same. Amazing. And I can see some questions getting thrown into the main chat here. If you guys don't mind, just take those questions, throw them into the questions tab. And then at the end, we'll make sure that we don't miss any of them. So just if they could get lost in the chat if they kind of go up a little bit higher. So there's some good questions in here about AI, the timeline for the design program. I just want to make sure I get answers to those. So if you guys wouldn't mind, just throw them in the questions tab, and we'll certainly circle back to those in a few minutes for you there. So the next question here for you, Robert, How do these courses prepare students to work as AR and VR developers and designers? And it's a very broad question, but just in general, what's a high level? What are kind of the main things that would assist them to become developers and designers in the XR space?
Yeah, for sure. I would say it sort of alludes to the first question, but really, when you learn anything in life, the most important thing is to have a foundational set of principles in whatever you learn so that you can grow off it. So, really, it's kind of like building a castle on sand. You have to have a really strong foundation, no matter how hard it may be, by which you can sort of expand and flip it to become what you want to be. So that's really what you learn in these courses. It's how do you build that foundation? Everyone, in essence, starts learning the same thing. But once you take that base knowledge, you can become a digital artist, you can become a game developer, you can go into research. Anything really has that same foundation in this AR VR space. So I would say that's really what you learn in this course.
Amazing, amazing. We are going to share. I've got some links later on too for the right. It'll take you right to the website page. So if anybody's looking for a syllabus, there's a prompt there. You can download it or just request it. I think it just gets sent off to your email the same way that this session recording will. So we'll share some of that afterwards too, in case anybody's curious to look into the the breakdown of either of the courses there a little bit closer. So the next question for you here, Robert. What kind of projects can these students expect to work on during their program? And it's okay if you answer a little bit more specific to the XR course for this one.
All right, sounds good. There's some really cool stuff you're doing, but I would say that really there's only one project that students are doing in this program, and that's the final project. So the final project is where you take all the accumulated knowledge you've learned in the 3 months and you use it to build something very unique to you. So essentially a portfolio piece. But the cool thing is basically before you get to that final project, every single week there's what I would call more of an exercise or an assignment that really summarizes all of the foundational principles you learn that week. So as you learn coding, you'll get a coding exercise. And then as you learn VR, you'll get a VR exercise. But these are really all how you solidify tools that you use to build this final project. So hopefully that's not a bad twist to your question. But basically that's really the one project you'll learn. And then from that, you get a bunch of assignments. But the assignments are cool. Basically in assignments, I've seen everything from launching rockets to making the sun and the moon orbit around you, grabbing objects and throwing them at things. There's everything that you would see in basic building blocks for AR, VR, how to create a cool little organizational tool for your room by placing furniture. A lot of stuff that you'll see, but they're really cool tools. Yeah.
I've seen some cool ones come through too, and like some language ones and some just things that assist people in different ways. Like it's so neat. And then some of our students have actually taken the XR courses and then also taken our boot camps and like game development boot camps. And then they combine the skills together and make XR games. And like it's really cool, like the amount of stuff you could do. So and I see one question here on the side. I don't know if you're going to throw that into the other one, Samuel, but can we study on campus? I'll just answer that one really quickly in between here. These courses are all online. They are available through the universities, but they are running online. So these ones in particular, we don't have on campus. I just wanted to answer that real quick for you there, Samuel. All right. So Robert, can you talk a little bit about the pace of the courses and how they might be suitable for true beginners?
Yeah, for sure. So true beginners in the sense that if you've never programmed in any language before, and if you never opened Unity before or any other engine, if I had to be very transparent and honest to everybody here, just to show you expectations, it's quite a fast-paced course. I like to akin it to almost drinking from a fire hose. So you're going to get some material, but some's just going to blow by your face. And is that a bad thing? Necessarily, it's not really a bad thing. I've had students that have started from really ground zero. They've never coded, they've never done anything, and they've completed the course on time, creating projects that they were proud of and learning quite a bit. Now, not everyone can do that. And for those who can't do it, the good thing is that it's not like once you finish the course, everything blows up and then you have nothing to learn from. At the end of it, you still have everything that you can access afterwards. So you still have the video lesson videos, you still have recordings, the course material is still there. So really you can learn at your own pace. There's also the Discord group that you can access after and during. So there's a lot of resources that can let you go as fast as you want. So if you go true to the sense of the program and it's your first time, I think you're gonna have to prepare to take some hours outside of the classes to really delve into it. But if you want to take it at your own pace, like, why is that a bad thing, right? You'll still learn a lot and you'll still make amazing things. Just for a quick context, when I started learning AR, VR, this was maybe 7 years ago. I taught myself how to do it through books. I had programming experience beforehand. And to get as far as the people are getting in 3 months took me more than a year. So it really goes to show how, as a true beginner, you can really get far really fast. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and all these types of courses are all, these online courses, they're all like meant to be a little bit more fast paced than a traditional education program. So, the way you said it, and I was laughing too. There was a comment in the chat with a little, oh wow, and a little fire truck when you when you said the fire hose, which made me laugh. But it's true. I mean, it's like, it's just a learning style. You're getting a whole bunch of information kind of thrown at you. And if you have a bit of experience, then you're going to be able to take it on a little bit easier. If you have no experience, then it's going to land, some of it's going to blow past you, like you said. But that's the benefit of having a full recorded course. You can go back, you can review your materials. And then the biggest thing, this is why I was saying earlier, it's such a benefit to the course is just the community. You've got so much support from the instructors and from the other students. So that's perfect. The next question here for you is, literally, it's exactly what we just said. What kind of support and resources are available to the students throughout the courses? You just elaborate,
next.
I guess.
I'm kidding. Yeah. I would say, to elaborate a bit more on it, what I found is that there's kind of two types of students. There's the ones that ask a lot of questions and the ones that are a bit too shy too. If you have questions in the beginning, like during the course, your instructor, I think, is your greatest resource. As you're starting to learn your journey, they're there to answer your questions. And if you're stuck on something, simply ask and they will help you out. That being said, if you don't want to ask questions because you're a bit shy, feel free to just email the instructor and they can always guide you to wherever you need to go. The instructor is really important in the beginning. As you progress in the course, your cohort is very important too. So if you get together with students in your group and you chat with them, you're really learning off each other and you're growing together. And sometimes dredging through all this material is hard on your own. So having someone who is suffering alongside you is always a good thing. You can kind of do it together. Once you finish, Discord is really good. So Circuit Stream Discord, as Tyler's mentioned, there's a wealth of information, a wealth of connections that you can reach out to. I'm kind of guilty for not reaching out too much on Discord. I'm not too much of a Discord user, but it's always active. Like, you can always see a lot of stuff going on. So I recommend that as well. There you go.
And similar, you said before too, you self-taught yourself and it took you like a year compared to what students would do in 3 months, which makes a whole lot of sense. And so something on that note too, we get a lot of questions asking us, there's like some free learning tools through Unity. Like, why would we take this course if I could just go online and kind of find some of the same information on my own? And the example that you gave is just great. I just wanted to kind of lean into that. So additional resources after you've taken the course would be looking for like niche areas and finding YouTube content and things that can kind of help you better understand after you have the base, concept of that area. But if you're coming in brand new and it's so hard for people to teach themselves, like even especially if you didn't have a background in programming before you did that, it would have been almost impossible for you to do. And people often go in the wrong direction and they start learning things that don't make sense for what they need. And so the course just obviously keeps all of that organized for you. But so I wouldn't recommend it in place of the course, but a cool resource once you finish is leaning into things like the Unity Learn. And, there's lots of stuff on YouTube too that can help you further your understanding of development and design there. So cool. Okay. Can you describe the hands-on learning experiences students will have during the courses? So you talked a little bit about the project before, maybe just kind of reiterate that part again.
For sure. I actually think that this is one of the greatest parts of these courses, is that when I was self-teaching myself, I would follow along a tutorial and I would just write line by line what the person's writing. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know everything. I can make this cool thing. But as soon as you're not watching that video, you're basically fish on land. Like there's just no way you can really remember what these people are teaching you line by line. You can, but if you are, you're smarter than me, basically, is what I would say. So with these courses, it is a learn at your own pace and it is very self-taught, but you have a mentor that kind of guides you the whole way. So what I would say in terms of hands-on is, yes, you're building stuff, you're doing assignments, you're developing stuff in AR and VR, but you're not just copying what I would do. I don't say, write this line on this line of code right here, don't click here, click here. It's just the base principles, that foundational set of principles. This is what it is. This is how you make something. Go and make something. So every single assignment that I get is always different. It's unique to that student's level of experience, their level of creativity, the work they put into it. It's always different. And that's really as hands-on as you can get because it's like real work experience, right? It's not like your boss in the real world gives you a project and says, well, first on line 1, you write this, and then on line 2, you write this. They just say, do this task by this date. And so I think that's the beauty of this program, is it's hands-on and that you take control of your own assignments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just that would be the same for both development and design, in case anyone was asking. When we're saying most of this stuff, it applies to both the courses. They're structured almost the same. It's just the content's a bit different. So I shouldn't say a bit. Coding's quite a bit different. But all right. What opportunities do students have for networking and collaboration? I feel like we've kind of talked about this already, so we can probably jump over this one. But the main opportunities would just be networking in your classes, networking on Discord afterwards. And then even outside of that, I mean, there's lots of opportunities for things like game jams and things that exist even in the XR space. So I encourage, we always encourage people to kind of find other networking opportunities and ways to connect with like-minded people. If you ever have opportunities to go to conferences, like there's one I think it's in San Francisco or close to, called AWE, Augmented World Expo. I've been to that one before. It's great. Obviously, some of these conferences are a little expensive, but you can also volunteer. You can request to be volunteer at some of these too, and there's opportunities. They'll pay for your ticket. You just have to, get your own hotel or your travel or whatever. So just different ways that you can kind of immerse yourself into it. But I always recommend that for people. So you utilize our networks and then get yourself out there any way you can, and build, use projects, like create on your own, even outside of the course, and make mistakes. And it's totally okay if you do. So. All right. How do you assess and provide feedback on these student projects and assignments? That's a good one here.
Oh, yeah, that is a good question. Feedback on assignments, it usually is obviously on a student by student basis. But what I'm looking at 100% is, so I'm going to say this all the time, is this student demonstrating the foundational principles that they learned this week? So for instance, if they're doing a C# coding exercise that is causing an object to spin around you, do they understand the principles that make that happen? Like, can you tell that they really knew how the parent-child relationship between objects work? Can you tell that they know how to build a script? Can you tell that they know how to properly organize it? These are things I look at. And in general, if they can make the assignment task work, good on them. But it's nice to see if they incorporated that properly, and just give feedback as in, did you know this, or you might have missed this? And I think that you don't have to get it 100% of the way there, but the comments can just show you how to get there. So kind of about random. Hopefully that's a good enough answer.
Good. Yeah, it's like constructive feedback versus just feedback to give feedback. It's giving feedback with a little bit of information around it, which is always, I appreciate that. So. I can see, again, I'm going to answer the questions in the questions tab at the end, but there's just one that stood out to me here really quickly. How do we get to work on a website? I just want to quickly clarify that the course here, the XR Development and Design, we don't focus on website design or development. We do also have courses available through Circuit Stream in different areas like software development, but even that's not necessarily going to overlap with website development specifically, I don't think. Kevin, we might not have a course specifically for that if that's what you were looking for, but I mean, I'm going to share some links later on here. Feel free to go and check out the website and take a look at our course catalog and look at the request the syllabus for this one here, and it'll give you a really good breakdown of what the course would entail and kind of the different areas it'll cover for you there. So, all right, 3 more questions here. What kind of programs and applications will the students use during the course? I mentioned some of the tools earlier, but are there any in particular outside of Unity that you use kind of more than others, or that you guys really focus on?
I would say when I looked at that slide that you're showing, it is true that all of these are used in Unity. But if I had to give an honest answer, all you need to do Unity development in general is Unity. And the reason for that is most of those frameworks and assets and tools that you mentioned, they're kind of built in Unity. You just have to know how to access them. So really, Unity is all I would recommend people use through the course. That being said, when it comes to building stuff that you bring into Unity or use alongside Unity, there's obviously, everyone has their own preference. And there's tools that I don't even know how to use that students mention, and it blows my mind. One clear one for me is Blender, or just a modeling tool. People always say, oh yeah, I modeled this and I put it into my project. And I usually pay an artist to make stuff for me. So for me, that's the props to you. Like I could never do that in my life. Another thing I recommend during final project design is the use of Trello, so that you can create a Kanban board, which a task of to do, doing, and done. Then you get me as an instructor. When I'm looking at this, I can see where you are at all times. Mixamo to get animations, a whole bunch of things that you don't necessarily need, but they're nice extras. Can't deny. Yeah.
And I feel like with your response, that's funny. I'm almost the exact opposite of you. I don't have any coding knowledge at all, but I love to draw and I do things in like Procreate, and so it's not exactly the same. But I'm not doing modeling yet, I guess. But
Jealous.
just I know it's just funny. We're complete opposite skills that way too. And speaking of that too, so if anybody does take this course, the development one in particular, a cool thing to note is that the coding skills are transferable. So if you're learning like C# coding through this course and eventually you're taking on a project at work, whether it's XR focused or not, if it's coding overlapping with coding and it's any coding language, you're going to be able to understand it a lot more if you have a good understanding of C#. All coding languages are different, but there's a lot of overlap there. It's like learning Spanish and Italian and French. It's they're all quite different, but then there's a lot of areas where you just know if you know the other one. So just a quick little thing to mention there. And then 2 more. I feel like the thing with these questions is I had a whole line, but we've hit so many of the answers in the previous ones. So the next question was, can you explain how the course helps students build a portfolio of work? So we kind of already went over this previously. There's a bunch of assignments that kind of teach you different little skills as you go through, which leads up to the main project that you kind of do at the end. And then you get to inject your own kind of personality into that project and make it the way that you want to. So that's probably the answer to that one there. It's I can see you nodding. So it's so I'll jump into the next one. This is the last one here for you. So just in general, what advice would you give to students who are new to AR VR development and design, and if they are considering courses like these ones here?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I'll leave is it's a tip I give everyone. This was a mantra that was passed down to me from a woodworker, and I just use it in my life. So I like to just tell, it's the first thing I say in every course I teach. Everything you do in life, in this case, programming, there's many routes down the mountain. So that means that I'm going to do something different from Tyler. Everyone's going to do something different. But all that matters is you get the same end result. So as you're learning this and as you decide to explore this, there's many ways of achieving your goal. And it's not necessarily that you're forced to take a course or you're forced to learn a certain way. I don't know how you learn. I personally was the worst student in university. Somehow I graduated, but it's that working on projects is the way I learned, basically. There's 2 things though that you can get out of Circuit Stream, in my opinion. One is the foundational set of principles that you can use to build upon and become who you want to be. So everyone will start with that same foundation. we can help you through the slog because the slog sucks. I can tell you as a self-taught person. The second thing you learn, or the second thing you get, is the badge or the certificate that Tyler mentioned. And so I had the pleasure of speaking with the dean of SAIT, the SAIT School of Business. Her name is Janet. And she told me something really interesting. So we had this conversation about why do we need to get degrees nowadays? And she said a degree or a badge is an artifact. And what do we mean by artifact? It's a way to prove to someone who doesn't know you that you have the set of skills that they require. So you might answer the same way I answered. Well, I just make a portfolio. I made a portfolio. People trusted me. It's good. But the response to that kind of blew my mind. She said, well, how do I know that that portfolio is yours? How do I know that you didn't just copy it off GitHub or, someone else's project? How do I know that's you? No one's validating this. So what you get really through a badge is an artifact that proves that a well-known organization, which has connections around the world, is certifying that you have those skills to do what you say you can do. So in terms of, the foundational principles, is that a way do you need someone to help mentor you to get that? Or do you think you'll never achieve it without that help? Circuitry might be for you. Are you just starting out? Do you have no way to prove yourself? And do you need that artifact to be a way to prove that you have these skills, that you actually can do this? Circuitry might be for you. So I think that that's something I really want to tell people is in these courses, there's really two things you get out of it, besides all the networking and all the cool people you'll meet and blah, blah, blah. Those are the two things I think you'll get out of it, really in its core. And so if you feel like you need them, that could be your route down the mountain. So you got to make your own decisions.
Perfect. I don't think I could have said that better myself. So thank you. Thank you so much, Robert. That's perfect. I think that was, that's all the questions that I had here lined up for you, but I can see that we've got some building in the questions tab there. So what I'm going to do, Robert, is I'm just going to share some of the upcoming course information. I'm going to share some contact details for people. And I can see we've actually shared the link in the chat there too while we were chatting, but I'm going to share a little bit more, and then Robert's going to join me back on stage here in probably about 3 minutes, and we're going to do a Q&A with the audience. In fact, if you want, Robert, I can minimize you over to the side if you want. You can just hang tight there for a minute.
Perfect, because I actually don't know how to leave, so that's perfect.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll put you over here for now. And then, I'm going to share, this is real quick, guys. I'm just going to share some of the pricing information, how to reach out to us, the start dates, in case anybody has any questions about the courses and wants to get going here. So I will start off with the course schedule. So the course is 10 weeks, both of them, 1.5 hours of live online lessons per week, and then 6+ hours of independent study per week. This can vary a little bit kind of depending on, how much you want to put into it. 6 is probably just like the average amount, but I'm sure there's some students that probably put a little bit more time in on the evenings and weekends if they choose to. So that's a good example of the rough schedule there for the week. In terms of the time slots, I saw somebody asked earlier the lab times and things like that. So these are all Pacific time on the screen right now. You can see for both of the courses, there's 3 different time slot options for both. If you are not in Pacific time zone, just make sure that you're doing the conversion here as you're looking at these numbers. So this would be like for the top time slot in XR development, for example, would start at 10 a.m. Pacific, which would be 11 a.m. Mountain, 12 Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, I think, and then so on and so forth. So just make sure you do the time conversion for yourself there when you're looking at these, but these are the time slots. And if that gentleman or that person who asked that earlier, if they've left, then hopefully they can see this in the recording after that they get. But if you are still here, those are the time slots that you're asking about. Now, in terms of pricing, we do offer 2 different packages for both the development and design courses. The starter package is great for people who have a little bit of experience, especially on the development side. The plus package is where you're going to get a little bit of additional support on the coding and just a little bit of extra time there. So that's the pricing. The standard pricing is what you can see in the white there. at the bottom. And then below that, where it says the attendee offer, it's actually our early bird rate that we have in place right now, and it's 10% off of both the courses. So if you are looking to do that, if you reach out to our admissions team, you can just let them know, and they'll make sure that you get the promotion for the course. If you are going through the self checkout on any of our websites, the code you can see is on the screen there. It is EBDDESGLO. That's just the code. If you put that in, it's going to make sure that you get the 10% discount. So you can take a picture of that if you like. Again, this whole session will be recorded, so you can always go back and look at this part to see what the code is. Or if worst case scenario, you can't find it, the recording didn't get to you for some reason, just reach out to our team. I'm going to share the contact details in a moment, and we'll help you out. We'll make sure you get to the right place there. In terms of the course start dates, for the XR development with Unity, our next upcoming start date is August 5th and runs through October 10th. And then for the interaction design and prototyping course, the next start date is August 12th and runs through October 17th. We usually run them every few months. So there's probably a couple starts that would happen a month or two after that too. So just let us know. I just wanted to share the upcoming dates for you there. And then in terms of accessing, so these QR codes are going to take you to the main course pages for all of these universities with our courses. So just note, you might have to scroll down a little to get to the XR development or design. You're probably going to see the software boot camps and the game development, game design, all that kind of stuff's in the main course catalog for these universities. So just find the XR development or design course. You can register right through the website if you like, or you can just request the syllabus if you're looking for more information, and that's where it's going to get sent off to you afterwards there. So those are the links there. And then contact, this is the best way to do it. If you just reach out to admissions@circuitstream.com, our admissions team can help you with any questions that you have about any of the courses. And that was it. That was the whole presentation. I promised just a couple more minutes there. So I'm going to close this part. I'll get us back up on the screen here. Whew, I'm not used to seeing myself that big up on the screen again. All right. So I'm going to flip over to the questions tab here and see. Let's go to the bottom. Will OpenAI have an effect on the job market for AR and VR? Do you have any insight on that side, Robert?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people are terrified that it's going to take away their work. Let's just be blunt about it. My opinion on it is probably it won't. I don't have any worries about it personally. In fact, when anything comes out, whether it's Copilot or just asking some sort of OpenAI program how to code, I do it all the time. It helps me. And that being said, it always gives me wrong answers, but it's cool. Like it's fun to play around with, and it can only get better from here. So will it affect the job market? I think it'll create a system where people can ask questions to basically like a autonomous sort of response bot that can give you cool answers, and it'll make a more educated programmer, my opinion. But I don't think it'll take everyone's job, just a few people's. Yeah.
Yeah, because in terms of coding with it too, it can only do like very, very basic coding, and it often gets it wrong from what I've heard. Again, I'm not a coder, but we teach courses in all different types of technology, like not just XR, but the common feedback I hear from every industry speaker, every instructor, anybody that I've been talking to when I go to conferences and I talk to people is that AI is going to be just an amazing tool for people to use along with their jobs. And the exciting part there is that we already are, like I'm using, ChatGPT and OpenAI. I'm using this stuff quite often already. I think it's going to become a little bit more of a regular tool like Google has become in most people's lives eventually. And I think we're going to get to the point where they are able to create even more specific AI tools that are used in different industries for coders, for developers, for designers. And it's going to enhance the work because, like it or not, AI can assess a whole whack of data in a way faster amount of time than we can. So if we can just train it to work with us and help us improve on what we're doing, which is kind of the direction that I see it going right now, then it's not nearly as scary as, thinking it's going to come in and steal everyone's jobs or something. So the next question is, how has AI changed the way that students can learn today? So same thing. Basically, it's, we're not at a point where AI is completely shifting the student experience, but I imagine in the future, there'll probably be a lot of AI tools that are incorporated into the lessons. And how we're taking in content in a classroom setting, so or an online classroom too. So hopefully that answers the questions for you guys there for now. Not at all shocked to see AI questions. I was just at a conference last week, and that was like one of the main topics was AI in every way. So, does the course include any student license for trying the full version of Unity? I don't believe so, but that's it. It doesn't include that, right, Robert?
I don't believe so either, but the free version is really all you need.
Yeah. So if you decide that you wanted to do the full paid version, then it would just kind of be on your own for that. But in terms of learning all the concepts for development and for design, you don't you just need the free version there. So. All right. My local city has just announced an AR/VR studio open to the public for business use. I'm a 360 virtual tour photographer. How should I put my created tours, such as wedding venues, into the XR space? Do you have any suggestions there, Robert?
First off, Kevin, that is super cool. I wish I could go to that studio. That's really cool. In terms of putting a virtual tour into your space, there's a whole whack of ways that you could do it. One thing that I'm thinking off the top of my head is there's an application I created for a client where they do a 360 video. So maybe it's not a tour per se, but you can basically walk into the video in AR, and then it kind of looks like a portal. So you walk through a portal, you're like in this world where you can see a whole new experience. You can walk out of the portal into other ones. That's one of many ways you could do this. But basically, long story short, sorry, I'm a bit of a chatty person. You can take the 360 content and you can just display it around a user. And just like in any 360 application, it works just as well in Unity. Yeah.
I guess my answer, Kevin, would be start with the XR development with Unity course. No, of course I have to plug the course, but it would give you the foundation and, the know-how of how to kind of do something like that. But I didn't want that to be my default answer. I wanted to let Robert kind of explain the process first there, which was perfect. So, all right. So I haven't seen the syllabus yet, but what is the weekly schedule? Duncan, I hope the screen that I shared a few minutes ago kind of gave you a little bit of an idea of what that looks like. But if you go to the course website as well, if you click through, I think you can see what the scheduling would look like too there. So that'll give you a little bit more information. They once a week or more frequently. So there's 2 days a week, and there's 3 different time slot options. So that's just what I shared earlier there. So yeah, let us know, Duncan, if you didn't see that earlier. If you need anything, we can always reach out to you, or just reach out to admissions@circuitstream.com, and they can certainly give you more details there too. Are we using any CI/CD tools in this course for development? I mean, are we going to be collaborating with unique coding repository using Git, or are they just local development applications? This is a question for you, Robert, for sure.
I could try to answer this one. Actually, well, the answer is they're all just local development applications. But sign up to another layer of that. Git is probably something that would need its own course. Honestly, I've been using Git for a very long time for a lot of stuff for my version control. I still don't really know what it does, really, to be honest, like even after like 10 years of using it. So realistically, it'd be hard to teach a beginner how to do version control. That being said, if you use a version control or any sort of Git repo and you submit that as your final project, your instructor is going to think you're the bomb. So might as well do it. That's my answer. But yeah, they're all local development applications.
Perfect. And yeah, I was going to say you answered that just the way you answered that way better than I could, because I had no idea how to answer that one. So thank you for that. This is why we have a course instructor here alongside me, because I certainly don't know all these. But I noticed CircuitStream has partnered with different universities to teach students. Are there differences between? Where did that just go? Are there differences in learning experiences between the universities? No. So the courses are the same that are available. We've partnered with different universities because they saw a benefit in having augmented and virtual reality education available through their institution. So you can take the course directly through CircuitStream if you wanted to just do it that way. But if you have a preference in terms of the institution that you wanted to partner with, and you saw one of them on the list there, going through that is going to just give you the certification. That's, I believe it's just backed on the university side as well when you get the certification. So, but in terms of the content, it's exactly the same. So it's you'd have, and in fact, a lot of our cohorts are global cohorts. Then they get grouped in together. So you may sign up from 3 different universities, and you could still be in the same class together, which is amazing because you're networking with all the like-minded individuals who are kind of doing the same education there. And you're not just in one school. You get to kind of meet people from all over the place when you're doing that, which is the benefit of online learning anyways. So that's why we wanted to kind of lean into that more. So is the pricing in US or Canadian? I think it just depends on where you're coming from. If you're buying the course in the US, it would be priced in US. If you're doing it through Canada, it would be priced in Canadian there. So if you have any other questions about that, just reach out to the admissions team. They can give you way more detail and insight on that as well. What is the benefit of taking the course through university partner instead of directly through CircuitStream? That's just what I was mentioning there is the certification would be backed by the university itself. And I believe it's written on the certification when it comes through the university. Whereas if you do it through CircuitStream, you're backed by Unity and by CircuitStream, but you don't have the additional leg of the university being there too. So yeah, it's your preference. I mean, the main important thing here for taking a course like this is having the Unity certification. We worked with Unity to create our levels of certification. We actually worked with them to create some of their early levels of certification too. So if you ever went on your own and yeah, we did. If you ever go on your own and want to certify yourself further with Unity as a developer, I believe their first and second levels, we helped them create the certification for. So just a cool little fact on the side there. Can we connect with you guys on LinkedIn? Absolutely. For me, I guess I shouldn't speak for Robert, but you
Yes.
can, yeah, you can just search our names. I think if you search both of our names and search CircuitStream, you're probably going to find us in LinkedIn pretty easy. But if you have the link to yours, Robert, feel free to throw it into the chat too if you like.
I don't, but if you look mine up, it's Robert Wong Tech Kong, as in TEK space KONG. I have a really long last name, so I just shortened to Wong. So please
It
add
has
me.
it has tech in it too, just which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's up. Nominative determinism.
And yeah, so me, it's just Tyler Trapp at CircuitStream. You can find me if you search that on LinkedIn there. How do you think a software engineering manager expecting to switch into this new industry technology should take advantage of this course? So I'll answer real quick and then I'll let Robert give the real answer here. But I think if you're a software engineering manager, that means you probably have some good familiarization with coding and you've got some experience in that sense. I would assume. So this course is going to be kind of teaching how to take that coding information and apply it to XR development and design principle. I guess I'm speaking only on the development side. If you're looking on the design side, then everything I just said doesn't make any sense. But on the development side, you could basically take a lot of the skills that you have, and then this course would teach you how to apply it in the XR world versus outside of that. But I'll let you add to that, Robert.
Tyler, I think that was the right answer. So I will add some fluff that probably doesn't make sense. Maybe like a hot take. So I used to be an engineering manager, but a mechanical one. And I found that when you're a manager, you're less doing the actual groundwork and you're more telling people to do the groundwork, obviously. So if you're expecting to switch into this industry, at least learn a high level knowledge of it. And what's a high level knowledge? A foundational set of principles by which you can build upon. So take the course. There you go. I plugged it for you.
Thank you. And my answer was right. That's good. I'm always hoping that they're right when they get a little more in the detailed side. I can talk anything about the differences between the courses and things, but once it gets a little bit more detailed, I'm like, instructor, help me. All right. Can you show examples of the students' final projects in both development and design? So I shared some screenshots earlier in this presentation of some of the student projects. Duncan, just for the purposes of us being in the middle of a presentation right now, and I don't necessarily have the materials or the links on hand to kind of show you. If you were to reach out though to the admissions team, Duncan, we have a whole host of student projects that are available. We can share videos with you. We can share, images, whatever it is that you want to take a look at. But they can definitely get that information over to you. I know we have a huge portfolio of it. So Duncan, just admissions@circuitstream.com. If you reach out to them, they'll be able to help you out for sure. And then, do AR VR designers earn higher salaries compared to regular UX UI designers? That's a great question. Do you know? Do you have any insight on that side, Robert?
Sorry, I don't. I would personally assume that the answer is it depends on where you live and it depends on what you do and your role and what company. So I don't think there's a solid answer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's too many factors. I mean, we also teach a product design course which teaches UI and UX principles, and I've taken a look at some of the salaries there, and I know they're quite competitive. It's so hard to know though. Like it's exactly like what you said. It depends on where you are, what company you're applying for, what exactly you're looking to do. So there's a lot of variables there. I don't think it's kind of set in stone. So. Do you think we'd be able to create an experience to interact with other 3D develop or software modelers applications like SketchUp for home designers?
Yep, I could take that for sure. So way back when I first started, actually that was my intent with this process of learning AR VR. I was a mechanical engineer and I created as one of my portfolio pieces a way for a fabricator or an engineer to walk through a model, a 3D model of an oil and gas facility. So the answer to that is definitely yes. You can export a CAD model, plop it into Unity. That being said, you got to really simplify it because these things are huge files. But yes, eventually, if you do it, you're able to walk through facilities, turn valves, all sorts of things. Things like SketchUp, for instance, I believe, don't quote me on this, but a lot of these programs are actually creating VR solutions where you can just go into it yourself. But SketchUp, same thing, export as a .fbx or whatever, plop it into Unity, you can walk through the home. So the answer is, in a very long-winded way, yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, and I've seen some like examples of projects that people do in XR where they're like architecture. They're trying to recreate the space to go through, and I imagine it's probably incredibly cost saving if you're able to create a model of it and walk through in a 3D environment versus having to actually physically build. Even those little models that you build, it's probably way more time consuming, that architects do on the table. We see the little mini versions of the building before they build the big one. Cool. Okay, and so it looks like we've got one last question in here. And it's a good one. Is it mandatory to purchase a VR headset for this program? I'll let you answer on that one, Robert. What do you feel about that?
For sure. The answer to that, in my opinion, is no. You don't need a VR headset for it. But if you don't use a VR headset, you have to use Unity's XR simulator. And A, I've never used it, and B, it's a thing that exists. So I would recommend you get a VR headset. A Quest or what? Quest 2s are what, like $100 nowadays? Oh, that's Canadian, I think. I would recommend, unless you have extraneous circumstances and you can't afford one, but you still want to be a VR developer, there are ways to do it with the Unity software using a simulator, but the experience is quite different from VR. So I would just recommend purchasing one.
That's what I usually say too. It's nice. It's really nice to have it. You can also test out the things as you're doing in that environment versus like trying to do it through the computer screen. However, if somebody was in a position where financially it made like it's either the course or the headset, and you can only kind of make a decision one or the other at a time. I'd usually just say you can do the course like Robert said without the headset. You can still get all of the education, and then you could always invest in getting the headset after, and the education's still going to be the same. It's just when you're testing it out, it's not going to be as fun testing it out, if that makes sense. So it's and it probably makes it a little easier to kind of understand some of it. So
Something I forgot to mention, sorry, just in case you're wondering, you obviously don't need to get like the latest headset. So if the Quest 3 is like $800 and you can afford a Quest 2 that's on sale, just wait and get that one. Realistically, every headset has the same principles. So,
and there's also, I think there's a lot of libraries, there's public spaces that have access to headsets too. Again, well, it's not like the most ideal. If you live close to somewhere that has that, you could also take the course without investing in it and then run over and kind of test out some of your projects using their equipment too. So everyone's situation is different. I always just like to give people some options, and so you don't feel like You certainly don't need the top of line computer to run Unity. Unity is free, and you certainly don't need like the best headset or even a headset to take the course. It's just it's a nice to have. So um, cool. Oh, we got one more that just popped up here. Is Unity kind of a hybrid development platform that will allow us to deploy our applications either on Vision OS, MetaQuest, or on any VR device? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Unity, I was like, I can confidently answer this one. Unity is like the main tool. You can develop on it, and then you can export it to all different platforms, exactly like what you said there. So yeah, perfect. Juan, you answered your own question perfectly. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm just going to take a quick look at the chat log here to see if there's anything else that we missed. I don't think so. Thanks for the answer. Thumbs up. AI. All right, cool. So I think that's good. I think we answered all the questions. So if we didn't answer anything for anybody, if anybody was too shy to reach out and type their question in for us today, please don't hesitate to reach out to the admissions team, admissions@circuitstream.com. Let us know if you have any other questions about the industry, about the courses, whatever the case may be. If you go to circuitstream.com, we've moved around the layout of the website a little bit, but if you go to the main page and scroll right to the bottom, there's an events tab there, and it'll show you the upcoming events that we have planned and scheduled too. So feel free to join us for those. Huge thank you to you, Robert, for taking the time to join us today and to answer all of my questions and all of the audience questions as well. So yes, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks. It was fun. I had a good time.
Awesome. And yeah, I'd love to have you back again. I haven't briefed you on that yet, but yeah, you're certainly getting an invite back to do another session with me soon here. So so that's it. So without further ado, thank you everyone for joining us, for joining this session here today. We look forward to seeing you at the next one. A recording of this will be sent to you, so make sure you check your inboxes. And on that note, we will wish everyone a great Tuesday, and we'll see you later. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Bye. All right.